begin. So in this video, what I want to do is just model for you how you would do those index cards, okay? So we're going to pretend that I'm writing my research paper on how homeschool students typically outperform the general public, all right? And so here's my thesis statement. Homeschool students are more likely to outperform the general public in their academic studies, community service, job performance. Okay, so that's my thesis statement. And please note, a difference between this, what I'm doing right now, and what you will be doing is that you will have 5 subpoints, okay? I just have 3 in my paper, okay? But you can tell my 3 subpoints are: we outperform the general public in academic studies, in community service, and then college success, okay? So what I have here is an article, and it's simply called What Research Reveals About Homeschooling. And I printed it off, and so what I would do if I'm you is I'll sit down and I just start reading it, and I notice that the first section is called How Many Families in the United States Homeschool. So that might actually be interesting information for my introduction. So I could go ahead and put that down on an index card if I wanted to, because that might be good background information, but I don't think it fits into any of it's not showing how we are outperforming. So the next subtopic, or the next bold print on this article, is how much does an average family spend on homeschooling? Again, that doesn't really apply to me, so I keep moving. How do homeschool students do at college? All right. So now I'm going to pay attention, right? Because that's actually one of my sections, okay? So it says, homeschooled students come to college with higher ACT scores, on average a 25 compared to 14.7. Okay, that's impressive. That's a fact and like a data point that I would want to use in my paper. So we will put that under academic studies, actually, because that's not actually success at college, but that's how you get into college, right? So pretend like this is my index card, okay? So this is source A, and this is going to be card number 1, all right? Now, I don't have a page number because it's an internet article, right? So what I want to write down is higher ACT 25 compared to 14.7. Like, that's impressive data right there. Okay, so this is what my index card would look like, and I would tuck it in my academic studies envelope. Okay, but I'm going to keep going because I think that there's more. Homeschool students have a higher graduation rate from college, than the general public. So that would be collegiate success. So here's my index card. This is still the same source, so it's still A, but this is my second card, okay? And now I'm going to say higher, I would put grad rate from college, which is 66.7% versus 57.5%, okay? So then I keep, there's all sorts of crazy stuff on here. But then another statistic, then there's a whole section called Other Statistics on Homeschooling Families. And one of those is that 71% of previously homeschooled adults serve in their communities, in comparison with 37% of general public. Wow, okay? That's because we're awesome. So here's what I'm going to show you that's different about this. So I'm going to make my index card enormous, all right? But this is still same source, but this is A3, all right? Now, these two, I've kind of just taken the data and I've done what I would call a paraphrase, right? Where it doesn't need to be in direct quotes. I'm not wording it exactly like they did in the article. But the way they have this worded, I think I might want to use word for word in my paper. Okay, so what do I have to do? Well, I have to put it in quotation marks. It's the only way I'm knowing it's a direct quote. And then I write it out. 71% of previously home, and I'm not going to write it all out because that would be a waste of our time, homeschooled adults, and you would keep writing, and then we would end it in a quote, all right? But that would be the direct quote. Again, these are my quotation marks. So then I would put this in my envelope for community service. There's some super interesting statistics in here that wouldn't make it into my paper, but one of my favorite ones is that 59% of previously homeschooled adults report that they are very happy with life compared to the general U.S. population at 27%. That's crazy. So what I would do then is I'm done with that article. So I found 3 note cards from it. And then I have another article here about homeschool kids. And so when I got ready to read through it, if I found something on community service, I would start with, that would be D1. And off I would go showing that. So this is kind of how you do it. You just scan through what you have. You mark it on a card, and you put it in the right envelope. I hope, if you have any questions, you will ask Mrs. Pinnell, and if it's unclear, feel free to email me. I'm happy to answer your questions. I really want to get you on the right, get started on the right foot on this. Again, the most important thing that you can do on these index cards is note if you are paraphrasing or if you're writing it word for word. And if you're unsure or if that just seems scary to you, like you're afraid you'll mess it up, direct quote all of them, and then we can go back later. I can still, when I get ready to write my paper, if I realize that I have 25 direct quotes and that's a little much for a research paper, I can go back and paraphrase any of the direct quotes. That's way easier to do than it is to look at a paraphrase and say, now what was this word for word 3 weeks ago when I researched it, right? So you can hedge your bet right there by just direct quoting all of them. But you just move to the next source and you keep going, and hopefully you'll end up super close to the required number of index cards and 7 sources. So again, I hope this helps. Good luck.